Welcome back into the Mavs Pulse podcast. We're going to be doing a little bit of different things today. We're going to be doing a film breakdown. My name is Blake. I'm joined by Grant. He's at all 82 games, the only reporter that's there. And this guy loves ball. And he's going to explain how the Thunder, who were only up 6 at about the 8-minute mark against the Mavs on Monday night, how they grew that lead to 22, who are the main culprits behind that and the schemes that were at hand. And then also how the Mavericks were able to fight back in the fourth quarter and make it a close game towards the end. So we're going to get into those clips now. Grant's got a couple pulled up that you think highlights that run. Grant, why don't you take it away and show us your mastery?
Yeah, it felt like with this play around the 8-minute mark, as you had mentioned, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was able to take advantage of Oklahoma City, getting him a side pick and roll, empty corner action to get a pull-up three against drop coverage. And I like the design of this play. Oklahoma City starts in horns. As you can see, there's two bigs, extended off the elbows, Chet Holmgren and Jalen Williams. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he normally dominates the ball, throughout plenty of portions of a game, but he's in the corner. This is going to be a good opportunity for them to put him in a position where he's able to, get into that action without pounding the air out of the ball and having to, draw a lot of defensive pressure. So this is going to start with Jalen Williams setting a flare for Chet Holmgren. Dort's going to make the entry pass to Jalen Williams. And then now notice this is a really creative design. I like it a lot. They're going to use double staggers on the weak side where Cason Wallace is going to lift out of the corner. And this looks like an action for Cason Wallace, but instead they're going to treat it like a decoy where Jalen Williams is going to get into a DHO with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander out of the corner. And then now you notice 3 Oklahoma City offensive players are going to be on the weak side. The corner's empty. And this is going to get a rescreen opportunity with Anthony Davis and drop. They're going to set that screen nice and high. A lot of ground for Max Christie to have to cover, fight through that screen. He's going to fight over the top because you don't want to go under against Shai. Anthony Davis is going to try to keep enough distance to contain a potential drive to the rim while also respecting him as a shooter. He's going to lunge forward, try to contest that shot, but that was more than enough space for Shai to make him pay. So just walking that back once we get to that empty corner action. Notice here how high that screen is. Really tough to fight over that. Anthony Davis, has to step up, respect it, but Shai has really come into his own as a pull-up three-point shooter and made him pay.
And that's only more of a threat when you have a guy like Chet Holmgren being the one to set the screen. You had Jalen Williams, who obviously can shoot the three ball, but the Dallas Mavericks are going to face an even tougher 1-2 combo, and when Chet's the one in the action, SGA being the main threat on that play, and they still weren't able to stop it. And you got an all-world defender, Anthony Davis, so not looking good. Now that gives the Thunder, a 9-point lead? They were up 6, a 9-point lead right there. What else happened in this run by the Oklahoma City Thunder, Grant?
Next play we're going to look at, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander takes full advantage of having D'Angelo Russell as a primary matchup. He's going to go between the legs and then use a snatchback move right here, snatches it back, and then plays through contact, quick turnaround, and shoots it over the top. D'Lo tries to recover, but is unable to make a tight contest to pressure the shot. So let's just get into a little bit of how he broke him down off the dribble. Between the legs, snatch back, D'Lo's in recovery mode, contact. Now he's out of position, fade, and more than enough to get a clean look right there.
And you got to respect that. I mean, that's the MVP. He's going to make tough shots, but when you have a guy like D'Angelo Russell on the court, as much as we're pom-pomming for him to be on the court for the offensive things, there comes some limitations on the defensive end where guys just aren't respecting him, and they're going to take that one-on-one. And there's multiple clips. We'll show you a couple of just D'Angelo Russell getting picked on.
Definitely. And then now this next possession, this is a transition play. Jalen Williams is just going to run the floor. He's going to be run it back,
pull it back, Grant. What just happened with our boy AD? AD's trying to jump over somebody. We're playing 3-on-5. What are we doing here, Grant?
Yeah, PJ Washington is driving right into the help, throws it up. I think Chet got a hand on it even, and now it's just a disaster with PJ on the floor. AD's out of position, trying to, I guess, make a late play at the ball after I guess after Chet Holmgren
We got
already made
PJ
the pass.
just laying on the ground under the rim. We got AD diving on
Lou
guys
Dort's just
already
hanging
laying
out
on
on
the ground.
top of him, I guess, for a little bit. Yeah, and then I guess this creates, with Lou Dort as the trailer, this is a 4-on-3. So tough play because two defenders doesn't really look like they're communicating here, as you can tell. Both of them are accounting for the ball. They want to be in a position to be able to rotate to whoever gets the pass. But right now, Lou Dort looks fully committed to passing to Jalen Williams. Somebody's got to fully commit to Jalen Williams here. This is like right here on the catch. Clay's just standing straight up. Just kind of gave up on this defensive possession. Like, let's look at
this play.
the
This play encapsulates the Mavs right now.
Yeah, too easy. You got to have a little more pride in that. Take the cutter. One of them has to take the ball. D'Lo has to take the ball, and Clay has to take the cutter. If you are already seeing like indications that this pass is going to be made right here, because Lou Dort's not a no-look passer. I don't think we have to worry about Shea getting the ball in this instance. Right here, pretty obvious the ball is going there, and
why does Clay have his hands up? Who does he think is going to take that? Is he blaming Najee in his head? Like, he has his hands up in the air when this pass happens.
Yeah, that's hopefully they find the answer. They're going to need to improve their transition defense. I think they're statistically one of the absolute worst, if not the worst right now, like super inefficient. I know they were before that back-to-back when I checked. So a lot of concerning elements when you don't have numbers. You're at a disadvantage. You got to be able to communicate and overcome that and play with effort. And that's just
look at him. He's got his hands up. Who's he got his hands up at, Grant? Me and you?
I guess so. Maybe other teammates for not getting back. I don't know. That's a fantastic question.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know how much more I can go through this, man. This is getting hard. Mavs fans, look away, but don't. Okay, what you got first, Grant?
Now we have Chet Holmgren once again being the focus of an off-ball screening action, and this time instead of a single stagger, he's going to get double staggers, just curl into the shot. And let's just walk through this one. Cooper Flagg is the primary defender for Chet on this play, and he's going to try to fight over the top of these screens. Entry pass is made to Jalen Williams. Now the staggers are coming. Cooper tries to fight over. D'Lo's in a drop, and Cooper does a respectable job of getting through those screens and gets a hand up late, but Chet's just high release point. Going to shoot over the top, and that's just the value of having a motion shooter with a lot of size like Chet Holmgren.
So who are we blaming for this play?
I think it's respectable defense. I think this is more like better offense situation, I feel like, because unless you're going to have a specific coverage where you're just going to deny him the ability to have shooting space coming off of this screen, you have to live with that, where Cooper is going to do his best to get over the screen and just make a late contest.
I'd love for D'Lo to show a little bit and make Jalen Williams make the skip pass to Lou Dort on a quick three. I'd love, because that's what D'Lo's, obviously he's in drop, for the curl. I'd love for him to show a little bit more and until Cooper gets back, hedge a little bit. Like, to me, Lou Dort's not that big of a threat in this play, and D'Lo is treating it as such. I know he's in drop and he's kind of waiting for that curl, but the immediate threat is Chet coming off this double drag at the top of the key as a motion shooter, and we're trusting Cooper Flagg to run through probably the best screener in the game, albeit illegal half the time with Lou Dort, but still.
Yeah, I think the main challenges for kind of mixing it up is, if you notice in this corner, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is being hugged physically actually hugged by the defender, who would be the low man in this instance, and Anthony Davis, he's playing up to touch as well. So if you get into an instance where, D'Angelo is playing up instead of taking that step back and showing, the risk that you do run is that Dort is going to cut, either to the basket, and that's a good opportunity for Chet to make a pass, or he's, popping out to the 3-point line and has, space to shoot. So I guess that's just the only calculations you have to make and live with something. But just that's part of the value as well of having such a great guard like Shai Gilgeous-Alexander with a low defender. Najee Marshall in that instance is literally hugging him off the ball. You can see he's got
Hugs
his
for
hands
Najee.
wrapped around him.
We need to get a t-shirt. Hugs for Najee. Shout out to Najee, man.
On this play, it starts with Jaden Hardy missing at the elbow. This creates a transition opportunity for Oklahoma City to push it. AJ Mitchell has the ball in the break, and they're going to flow into pick and roll. Isaiah Hartenstein is going to come set a screen. And what we're going to watch is Aaron Wiggins right here. He's lifting on the weak side, shaking up, as some call it, where the defender Cooper Flagg is going to be put in a position to have to guard him off the catch, containing him here. And what we see here, Aaron Wiggins does an effective job of selling the drive left and then countering with the between the legs dribble. And this is going to get Cooper Flagg in a vulnerable position. He's going to be in recovery mode with his hips opened. Aaron Wiggins has his foot in the paint and is launching already when Cooper Flagg is attempting to recover, using that right side of the rim, driving across the paint to protect from the potential block on the recovery from Flagg, knowing that he's an athletic shot blocker. This is a crafty play from Aaron Wiggins to create that advantage.
Started from the beginning. I'd like to make some comments. Not from the beginning, from the beginning of the defensive possession. Cooper Flagg, I need get it when Cooper's about to start guarding him. I need a better stance from Cooper Flagg. I mean, this is the guy we drafted #1 overall. We give him a bunch of flowers on this show, so we also got to give him grievances when it's due. He's not without I don't know what the word is, making fun of. Right here. Yeah. So rewind it. What is that defensive stance, Grant? I need a better defensive stance. He's too high, and he lets one dribble move from a. I mean, Wiggins is a ball handler. He's not like some elite ball handler, but I mean, obviously he can take it off the dribble. I know he's, I guess, maybe thinking he's going to shoot that. He seems startled that he used a dribble move, and he's just behind the whole play. And Cooper Flagg's athletic, so he ends up catching up and almost blocking it. But right here, okay, he thinks he's going to shoot. He doesn't shoot. That stance that he's in right now, he needs to get in a deeper stance because I know Cooper Flagg can do it. I don't know if he's got kind of lazy right here. The Thunder are on a run right now, and you need to stop, and you're not going to get it with this kind of effort.
Yeah, it almost looks like he was a little too concerned about him shooting it on the catch and having to lunge forward and contest it if he needed to. But that deep off the line, I think you would live with that shot by any means. And you're right. He's too high in this stance as this play develops. And now he's already like shifting right. And Aaron Wiggins is able to, completely counter that here. Now it's all about recovery. When you have to drop your hips like this and slide, it's really hard to recover. And as you can see, as he's attempting to do so, you already have a foot in the paint. And that's pretty much a layup from
D'Lo ain't blocking that.
No. Yeah, definitely not. And I guess that's also part of the thing that we should get into on this one too, is like, this is a micro ball lineup. So like, let's take a look at everyone on the floor. We already saw Cooper Flagg on this weak side with Aaron Wiggins. The center is technically PJ Washington, and you have a couple guards that are obviously not known for containment and help defense, Jaden Hardy and D'Angelo Russell. And then you have Najee Marshall just doing his best, playing up a position in this lineup. So you're not expecting to have help if you are giving up, dribble penetration, redrives, closeout attacks, all that stuff. And that's where you have to be ultra cognizant of giving up an attack off the catch like this. You have to be in a great defensive stance, contain dribble penetration, or else you're in a vulnerable position to give up a drive without help at the rim.
100%. They were all out of place, and you're playing this micro lineup. And obviously the Thunder didn't have a huge lineup out right there. They got Hartenstein. It's obviously a true center, but SGA is no slouch. And it just felt like any lineup the Mavericks put out, they didn't have an answer for it. Yeah, or any lineup the Thunder put out, the Mavs didn't have an answer for it. Excuse me.
Yeah, they were definitely trying things with Derek Lively, Daniel Gafford, both out. This was definitely one of those small ball games where you're just going to have to get into what Jason Kidd ultimately described in that fourth quarter as desperation lineups.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so this next one, I gotta see it. This is just a normal foul or shooting foul. Do they get points on the board after? Yes. So now we have, this is what definitely important to get into. Shea's now being used as a screener, knowing that they're not going to switch off of it. So yeah, this was the play where Cooper Flagg is trying to not get called for defensive 3 seconds while AJ Mitchell is already basically having a foot in the paint. So he's going to be in a vulnerable position to have to foul and not make an effective help rotation.
Run up from the top. How did that play develop?
It was an inbounds play, and then they just go into a guard-to-guard screen here where the Mavs don't switch.
And you got Jaden Hardy guarding the ball. So that's already problem number one. And then you got Najee, who's just guarding SGA. I'm SGA, nobody else, which I'm sure was his assignment. And then everyone's just out of place. Cooper Flagg trying to have a foot in the paint while being in help.
Yeah, you can see right here, he's looking to not get called, gets that foot up, and then tries to rotate. And yeah, this is a tough position when you're playing small ball, with that dribble penetration as a concern. They end up colliding as well. If you notice here,
Cooper hits Jaden.
Yeah,
bad, Jaden.
So yeah, that core principle of this is a theme down the stretch of this second half. Notice we have Jaden Hardy guarding the ball. Najee Marshall is guarding Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Oklahoma City is using him as a decoy, knowing that Dallas is not going to switch. And that is as hugged up as it gets. Najee Marshall, once again, is hugging Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, trying to slow him up, get any advantage he can against the MVP, and help his teammate not have to fight through a tough screen. And, that's going to be a situation where AJ Mitchell's driving downhill to his right and tries to finish on the left side of the rim. That also made it, another detail that was a little tricky for the help defense. AJ Mitchell's not, as a left-hand player, he's not taking this to the right side of the rim. He's going to avoid Cooper, switch his hands right here, tries to finish on that left side, and draws the foul.
What else you got for us, G-Rant?
Here off a spray out from Najee Marshall, D'Angelo Russell misses in transition. This creates a chance for Oklahoma City to push it on the break. And as we talked about earlier on a previous play, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who's bringing that ball up, is being picked up by D'Angelo Russell. And that creates a chance for Oklahoma City just to get right into ISO. There's no need to bring anyone up to screen. That's the matchup they want to attack, and they're going to do just that. He's going to go, once again, step back, draw a reaction, just play through that contact, and get right into the restricted area. Have D'Angelo Russell pinned on his back right here, 2 feet in the paint, right where he needs to be to just finish with his right hand right in front of the rim.
Barbecue chicken.
Yeah, that was the definition of bully ball right there. Getting where he wants to go, little resistance, makes the defense pay for giving up that matchup.
76-61. The Mavericks have crossed the 60-point marker. We started the video and they were at 54. They finally have crossed the 60-point marker. So shout out to the Mavs.
Next one we're looking at, AJ Mitchell is going to play the 2-man game with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Najee Marshall still guarding SGA. This time, interesting wrinkle. They try to sell flipping the screen as if they were going to actually use the screen from Shai. And D'Angelo Russell gets sold on that. And now AJ Mitchell, as you can see right here, he's beaten D'Angelo Russell off the dribble. He has the advantage. Physical driver. D'Lo's not going to be able to recover. And we're going to watch the rest of this play. PJ Washington, who has Jalen Williams, who was flashing from block to block, is going to be in a tough help position. He has 2 feet in the restricted area while AJ Mitchell already has a foot in the paint. Leaves his feet jumping into AJ Mitchell, made it a little challenging to avoid fouling there. You want to just get vertical without jumping into the defender to avoid the foul, but is unable to do so. And for people who are not familiar with AJ Mitchell, he is a left-hand driver. So this is a finish with his natural hand through the contact for an and one.
Well, look at that again. Mavs defense breaking down, out of position, lost, and didn't communicate. Seems to be a theme, Grant.
Yeah, can't get beat like that on the perimeter. That's going to put a small ball unit in a really tough position without a natural, interior presence shot blocker on the floor to really deter that deep penetration drive and not be able to pressure. If there is, a situation where you're giving up that drive, you want to be able to have somebody cover that up, cover up mistakes, but it's too small of a lineup to be able to do that on a consistent basis, especially when like rejecting the screen here, that's pretty far out on the perimeter. They know Dallas is not going to switch, so help's not going to be there. Have to do a much better job of containing, and tough position for the help defense to be in with the big flashing from block to block.
So what I'm learning, they're going on this run. Anthony Davis has not been on the court really for any of this run. And unfortunately, this is kind of the group and foreshadowing some of this group is on the court when they get back in the game. But it wasn't looking good for this five as a tandem.
Yeah, absolutely. That really tells you how important, as we know, having Derek Lively or Daniel Gafford or both available as options for when Anthony Davis is not on the floor. For as much as we like Anthony Davis at the 5 minutes, you absolutely need a 5 for when he is not the 5 on the floor. So the Thunder are going to take the ball out of the net off of a made Mavericks shot. AJ Mitchell is going to initiate with Shai Gilgeous-Alexander being picked up aggressively by Najee Marshall. As you can see, they don't want to tax him by having to bring the ball up against that pressure. So it's going to be AJ Mitchell's job to relieve that pressure. And Oklahoma City is going to get Shai off the ball. And they're going to look like they're going to set a middle pin down for him to flow into an action and maybe get the ball out on the perimeter. But instead, as you can see, AJ Mitchell is going to use this as an opportunity to take advantage of the attention that Shai is drawing and just play out of a push crossover to blow by D'Angelo Russell and finish on the left side of the rim without help defense in position. And let's get into a little bit of why the help wasn't in position. As I mentioned, the gravity of a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander obviously going to be significant. You got to account for him more than just one player responsible for him. It takes a full 5-man unit to account for a great player like that. So PJ Washington, whose man is screening for Shai, is going to be naturally focused on that action, putting himself in a position mentally to have to account for Shai. But Cooper Flagg, whose man was spacing in the corner, he's the low defender in this instance. Ideally, as he's watching this drive develop, you would like to see him make that help rotation if PJ Washington doesn't look like he's in a position to do so. And ultimately, neither of them do. And this is a finish at the rim.
They said, D-Lo, you got it, man. We believe in you. We believe in you.
Yeah, that's why dribble penetration is so important to be able to contain for any group, but especially as we've been talking about, when you go small, really important because you're not going to have a rim protector just lurking around that restricted area trying to deter those drives. And, you have to be really on point with rotations and communication if you're going to play that way.
Couldn't have said it better myself, Grant. The Thunder score right here to make it 22 points, Grant, and then the Mavs start their run after this, about 10 minutes and some change left in the fourth. What did you see happen on this Isaiah Hartenstein dunk?
Yeah, I think a problem throughout this game, which is basically an example on this possession, is just biting on shot fakes when you can live with a contest on a 3 if that's the shot that goes up. Is something that you might want to do instead of having to help off the strong side and give up, a little shovel pass, to a cutter like Isaiah Hartenstein, who's able to just throw it down on a reverse. So let's get into that build up to this play. It starts with AJ Mitchell looking like he's getting to pick and roll with Isaiah Hartenstein. Hartenstein just slips. Now 2 defenders are on the ball. This is recovery mode. Klay Thompson is going to try to find an offensive player to be responsible for. PJ Washington, we talked about communication being a problem, but he does a good job here. He just tells Klay, go take the weak side corner. I got Hartenstein. And we're going to just see the rest of this play. Chet was lifting out of the corner, catches the ball. And this is where the problem started. Jab step, shot fake, AD lunges forward. And now this puts a lot of pressure because, as we just mentioned, Clay had to commit to the weak side corner. That's a lot of ground to ask him to cover. So what you're going to have is PJ Washington taking that responsibility, because also Isaiah Hartenstein's not really a shooting threat. Like, that's what you would call like a non-shooter, weak shooter, whatever it may be. He's going to try to slide over and help, but great instinct by Hartenstein to cut baseline, and Chet Holmgren protects the ball, shovels it to him, well-timed, just 2 steps into the paint, reverse. And, this is a great play for the Thunder offense. If you have a center spacing out, that's exactly how you want to execute if they're going to help on the strong side and take advantage of just having size, cutting, and being able to finish the play.
This is how the Mavericks got back into this game. They're down 93-74, down 19 with 7 minutes and 40 on the clock in the fourth. D'Angelo Russell, Max Christie spray out, gets us started. Some of our favorite players getting it done. Break it down how it happened, Grant.
Yeah, this was that lineup that Jason Kidd was talking about, where, just explaining who's on the floor. Anthony Davis is back in at the 5. You can see him right here. PJ Washington makes up the 4 spot. And then you have Max Christie, Jaden Hardy, and D'Angelo Russell as the perimeter players. And this was a group that really helped claw the Mavericks back into it. And, as we just described, off of the inbounds pass, D'Angelo Russell is bringing it up. And, for as much as the defensive side was a concern for him, he's going to bring that value of creation on the offensive side. That's why you have him on the floor. And Anthony Davis, empty pick and roll. D'Angelo Russell is going to get to the middle of the floor, and watch what happened here. Key detail. Hartenstein is dropping, so D'Angelo Russell is going to have space coming off this screen to make a read. In the weak side, we have Max Christie spacing in the weak side corner right here. And then we have Jaden Hardy spacing on the weak side wing. And the defensive coverage that Oklahoma City was looking at here was they're a team that really likes to send the low defender early to really deter you from getting into the paint, whether it's the ball handler, but really they don't want Anthony Davis to touch the ball in the paint with an advantage. That's why they're not only dropping, but they're so cognizant of not allowing Anthony Davis in the paint with an advantage, that they're also sending that low defender in the restricted area. You can see right here, restricted area. There's a foot inside of it, foot on it. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is also in the paint. So this becomes a situation where D'Angelo Russell knows, after seeing this coverage throughout the game, Cason Wallace is going to be in charge of guarding 2 with 1, at least until Oklahoma City can recover. So right here, Max Christie's going to get a clean look.
Confident.
Yep, and that's all because of a no look here. Cason Wallace has to handle Jaden Hardy, respecting the pass, just 1 spot away. No look, commits Cason Wallace to that. And then now this puts Aaron Wiggins, who is trying to take a little bit of a control in the paint with PJ Washington cutting. He's tagging the cutter. He's going to have to recover out to the corner, make that long rotation as that pass after the no look is made. And Max Christie, confident as you had mentioned, knocks down the shot.
That's the biggest thing with Max. I mean, he always looks confident in that, but I think he's going to get more and more of those minutes if he catches the ball. And as we know, the NBA, a half step is open. So you got to shoot that ball confidently and let it fly. And Max did it, and it started the run.
Yeah, if they're going to send an early low defender and try to get away with it, regardless of if it's a great shooter, average shooter, poor shooter, you have to make them pay. Whoever is spacing in the corner, you have to fully make them pay, because that's going to open up opportunities for Anthony Davis on that empty pick and roll in the future to actually have an advantage, for that to be a situation where you're playing the 2-man game with an actual opportunity to make a play with the roll man involved, as opposed to having to make that spray out and trust the shooter. So you have to really sell the value of the shooting threat. This one's a defensive possession off of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander miss. Anthony Davis is fighting for the rebound, and Mavericks are in the bonus. This is just the value of playing hard, throughout the course of, a whole quarter when you're in the bonus. Fights with Isaiah Hartenstein for that rebound and gets to the free throw line to help trim the lead a little bit. Every every second when you're down big, down as much as 22 points matters a lot. So any chance you can get to kill the clock and cut down a lead matters a lot. And Anthony Davis makes it happen here on the glass. So the Mavs are going to get into a possession where D'Angelo Russell is playing empty pick and roll with Anthony Davis, and we're looking at the weak side spacers for this possession. D'Lo snakes the screen, gets the ball to the weak side wing. Jaden Hardy makes a play off the catch, and Anthony Davis is going to ultimately set a brush screen mid-drive just because of where he ended up on the floor near the nail area. Cason Wallace has to deal with that, tries to go under. Jaden gets 2 feet in the paint, non-restricted paint area.
That might be one of their better plays on the move, because if you watch them opening day, it's like it feels like they just rolled the ball out there and just met each other that day against the Spurs. This right here feels like they've been playing together a while. You're getting some off-ball movement. You're getting guys like, you'll see Jaden Hardy right here as this play's developing, see that Max Christie's open in the corner and start pointing for the ball to go towards him. You got Anthony Davis setting screens in the middle of the play when that wasn't even the play call. You got D'Lo spacing. Now AD and D'Lo kind of run into each other right here, which isn't the sexiest thing ever. But other than that, I mean, there's a lot of stuff that's happening in the flow of the play that looks good that I'm very much a fan of.
Yeah, and I think just the buildup of that screen, just how D'Angelo Russell was using it to his advantage. What I liked is that Anthony Davis is going to flip the screen, D'Angelo Russell is going to snake the screen, and a lot of Oklahoma City defenders, literally every off-ball defender at this point, this is just how much they're respecting Anthony Davis, has at least 1 foot, if not both feet, in the paint.
That's crazy.
So that's that gravity. And as you had mentioned, Jaden Hardy was signaling, trying to help out the ball handler, saying weak side corner is open. You can see the gesture here. He's pointing to him. Max Christie was jumping up and down a little bit to help out as well. Right here, get his attention a little bit. But one of the difficulties here, if you're a left-hand player coming off the screen with your right hand, dribbling, snaking into the gap there, the defender that's recovering is going to have a position to where they could pressure that potential, like just spray out pass.
Yep.
So he's going to make that safer read where Jaden Hardy, who stayed a little active, he didn't just completely stand there. He, shaked up a little bit on that weak side, making himself available, giving the ball handler, D'Lo, a good angle to get him the ball. Was able to make the play off the catch. Nice jab on the catch here.
He loves that jab.
Yeah, he really does. He really does. And Anthony Davis helps seal off the defense here. Nice screen. Just as you mentioned, learning instincts, just a nice, read and react situation, helping a teammate out here, knowing Isaiah Hartenstein is going to protect the rim as the focus, giving up the space coming off that screen. Jaden gets to a spot, 2 feet in the paint, shoots it, and knocks it down.
See, if you made it this far in the video, you get to see some positivity. We just said how the Mavs went down on a run, how their defense was terrible and they're the worst offense. Now you're seeing some of the good stuff.
On this play, Dallas is down 12 points at this point. They get a chance to cut into single digits off a missed shot, pushing it on the break. I really like what Jaden Hardy does on this play, keeps it safe, gets it to Anthony Davis in delay. And we're really watching here the two-man game. He brings up Anthony Davis. Oh, fuck. He brings up D'Angelo Russell. Damn it.
Anthony Davis brings up Anthony Davis.
Damn it. Mavs are down 12 on this play. Cason Wallace misses the pull-up three. Dallas gets the defensive rebound. Now they're getting into their offense, trying to make an advantage early in the shot clock. D'Angelo Russell's brought up into the action. Two-man game. Fumbled the exchange on a handoff. Now D'Angelo Russell is going to reject the screen, attack space going to his right. And once again, we're reading the weak side. Jaden Hardy is attacking the closeout. Doesn't force it. Really like what he does here. Picks up the ball, protects it, gets it to the superstar in the middle of the floor near the nail area. And now he doesn't just stand around. He's really smooth with how he approaches off-ball movement. He spaces out, but doesn't stay spaced out. He sees Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is trying to show help. And in this offense, there's a lot of cutting in general, but great read and react element here from Jaden Hardy. He's going to make the 45 cut to keep the defense honest. This forces a tag from Lou Dort. And notice how quickly Anthony Davis made that read. Jaden is cutting. Lou Dort immediately tags, and that pass is made. PJ Washington is left open in the corner. Wide open shot, knocks it down. At this point of the game, Mavs are down 9. Missed shot from Oklahoma City again creates a chance to cut even more in the lead. D'Angelo Russell is initiating the offense. More pick and roll with Anthony Davis, but he's going to pass out of what could have been a really tough shot. Like here, I think this is an attempt to draw a foul. Knows he's not going to get it, so he just passes out to Jaden Hardy on the wing. And as this really plays out, notice the help defense. Oklahoma City really did not want the two-man game for Dallas to create advantages. So they're trying to sit on the drive, one pass away, also playing in drop. So no spacing here. You got to counter it. Trust his teammate to make a play off the catch. Jaden on the catch has that opportunity to do it. Has a step on Cason Wallace, who's recovering. And this is now all about how Oklahoma City reacts. Lou Dort and Isaiah Hartenstein are the two help defenders on the back line. Hartenstein slides over to account for Jaden on the drive to prevent a layup. And this now forces Lou Dort to have to account for Anthony Davis, who was cutting to the rim. And this leaves Max Christie open on the weak side corner. So just spray out pass to the open shooter. Really steady play from Jaden Hardy, and really important 3 for Dallas.
I mean, that Jaden Hardy, we just said best play of the night. I mean, that's right there with it, 1B. His aggression made 2 guys guard him. We've seen on back-to-back plays, just him. Both the last 2 plays we've highlighted from Jaden Hardy, he didn't shoot the ball, but both have been some of the best plays because of his aggression and attacking the rim, or even with or without the ball, and making guys guard him and making one of his teammates open. And Max Christie, who has already hit a 3 on this run, gets to hit another one, and now they've cut this lead even more on a 13-0 run with under 4 minutes to go in the fourth now.
Yeah, just really unselfish play from Jay, and that's exactly what the coaching staff was looking for from him. Now the Mavericks are down 6 points with over 3 minutes left. D'Angelo Russell, this time instead of operating in the middle of the floor to get in that two-man game, the Mavericks are going to have them play empty pick and roll on the side of the floor. It's easier to get into some advantages where, knowing that Oklahoma City is going to play drop coverage, you're going to have the opportunity to make a little pocket pass here. Davis, stop and pop on the roll, shoots over the contest and knocks it down. And just really important to get your best players space to operate. And once again, if you just try to play that pick and roll middle of the floor, we saw earlier on the previous clips just how aggressive Oklahoma City was in loading up. So this was a nice way to just create quick spacing for Anthony Davis to get a nice shot in his spot. He really likes those short-range jump shots, has some rhythm stepping into the shot as well with the pocket pass. And, nice play for Dallas to be able to cut it within 4 points with still 3 minutes left in the game.
And I'd assume that's what Jason Kidd wants when he sees this 5 on the floor. You got Jaden Hardy, PJ Washington, Anthony Davis, D'Angelo Russell, and am I missing anybody? Max Christie.
Max Christie, yeah.
And Max Christie. I assume this is what you want to get more times than not, that empty side pick and roll with your best player, get a pocket pass, and let AD go to work. So just like Jason Kidd drew it up, and now the lead is 4 points? Come on.
Yeah, 4 points, 3-13. 3 minutes left. The Mavs are down 4, so really important to get a defensive stop on this possession. A.J. Mitchell misses at the rim, but Isaiah Hartenstein gets a putback. And let's take a close look at how that putback was possible. So with A.J. Mitchell, in and out dribble, able to get 2 feet in the paint on the floater. As this develops, Isaiah Hartenstein's crashing out of the short corner. Anthony Davis is more focused on the drive than he is getting a body on Hartenstein. And, this is arguably over the back call here that doesn't get called in a close game, gets pushed out of the way. Probably should have been called, actually, thinking about it. But
big boy ball.
The NBA doesn't have to tell us because it's not in the 2-minute report because it's 3 minutes left. But definitely could have been getting a body on him earlier, knowing how important it is to get a stop. And just a Hartenstein, easy little tip in on the glass to go up 6. With the
Alrighty.
defensive stop, Dallas had a great opportunity down 6 with about a minute and a half left to cut it to a single possession game. They're able to do just that. Really like the patience by D'Angelo Russell on this push. Chet Holmgren's getting back, don't want to force it at the rim. So he's going to retreat, dribble out, and that patience created a really good opportunity to hit Anthony Davis on the trail. So notice here, we're going to slow it down. He's dribbling through, reading how the offensive players around him are just able to fill their spots. Max Christie's cutting.
Great cut by Max Christie.
Yeah, he's going to really pull the defense away. And this is just Anthony Davis at the nail catching the ball with numbers to attack because Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was trying to recover back into the play. And now Lou Dort recognizes this, is going to try to help, but too big of a size advantage for Anthony Davis, finishes against the contact, and this is an and one.
I remember watching this live. I was like, as soon as I see AD cutting in my head, I'm like, he better dunk this. Like, if you let Lou Dort at the rim deter you this late in the game, then you can't call yourself a top 15 player. But I'm glad he finished it. I'm glad he got the and one. I thought he was going to punch it on him, to be honest.
So after cutting it to 3 points with about a minute, 20 seconds left now as Oklahoma City's bringing the ball up, getting a stop, really pivotal. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is going to play pick and roll with Chet Holmgren. And no, he's not. That's Isaiah Hartenstein.
You're good. You're good.
Now in the one possession game with a minute 25, Oklahoma City's bringing the ball up. Dallas really needs to stop to potentially tie. No. I don't need to add all that extra stuff. Oklahoma City's now taking the ball up about a minute 25. Lou Dort's initiating this play, gets to A.J. Mitchell. And now Dallas is going to have to handle Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in pick and roll. And they try to veer switch this, contest a shot, force the miss. And just let's get a little bit into the details on this one. Isaiah Hartenstein, nice step up screen. But Anthony Davis, who tried to respect the potential drive into space on the right side of the floor. See, he's respecting it here. He's going to recover, take a great angle. As Shai Gilgeous-Alexander is trying to stay patient, really reading how the defense is reacting and getting to a spot, trying to throw off Anthony Davis's timing with that in and out dribble. Anthony Davis is able to get into a position, use his length, pressure that shot, and misses front rim. A lot of shots. This is a close call because a lot of shots in this game from Shai hit the front rim and bounced in, but this time it bounces out and Dallas gets the defensive rebound.
Shout out to AD recovery on that because SGA definitely created a good amount of space, but AD's wingspan was able to get him back in that play.
Definitely. So now Mavs are down 3 with about a minute left, inbounding the ball, and they're going to go into zoom action. Some people call it Chicago. This is a dribble handoff coming after a off-ball screen. D'Angelo Russell's in that weak side corner. Max Christie's setting that stagger screen to create that action. He's coming up to the ball with Anthony Davis, giving him the dribble handoff. And what I like about this play is for a left-handed player, D'Angelo Russell is able to attack the drop coverage. Isaiah Hartenstein obviously has to respect Anthony Davis, diving to the rim. So D'Angelo Russell is going to be able to get to a spot in the paint with Lou Dort trying to recover, cuts him off. This is a really solid element of this play too. Doesn't allow him to recover by stepping over to that right side a little bit, cutting him off. And now he's already won the play here. Left-handed player has the ball in a position to get into a floater, a comfortable play where Chet Holmgren has to account for PJ Washington cutting and trying to pull him away, neutralize him as the drive develops. And that's part of the value of having teammates that are active as well. It just really fully allows you to take advantage of the spacing of the offense and get to that spot to finish it off with the floater in rhythm. And now the Mavericks are down 1 point. This is as close as they got with 55 seconds left in this game. So the Mavericks down 1 point with about 50 seconds left, really need a defensive stop, but they don't manage to do it. And we're going to break down how that happens. And early in this shot clock, Oklahoma City's really trying to just kill time. And they expect Dallas to try to get the ball out of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander's hands. And the way they're going to do that is a blitz from Max Christie. His man, Lou Dort, watch as this develops, is going to cut through from the wing to the corner. That's going to put Isaiah Hartenstein in a position to flash. Cason Wallace comes towards the ball to be a relief option. And now he's pulling away a defender one pass away, Jaden Hardy, who's going to try to create an opportunity for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander to get the ball on the entry pass over the top to Isaiah Hartenstein. Hardy tried to make a play on the ball, was unable to get a hand on it. And as this really progresses, notice what Isaiah Hartenstein does. He's going to pass fake and draw a reaction from Anthony Davis, and that was enough to create an advantage. A lot of advantages tend to be like that draw attention from the viewer. It tends to be like dribble moves or screens, things of that nature. But this was a really subtle one. I really, really thought this was an interesting one. Pass fake, Davis steps towards the ball, has to recover, unable to cut him off on the left side of the rim, finished through contact. And another little detail, on that weak side, D'Angelo Russell, this is one of the pros and cons elements of this lineup that created the advantage to even get to this point of the game. You can't sub for defense off of a make because you can't call timeout. So they have Jaden Hardy and D'Angelo Russell on the floor. Notice who D'Angelo Russell's guarding, Chet Holmgren. So even if Isaiah Hartenstein missed due to the pressure at the rim, this would have been a tough opportunity to prevent Chet Holmgren from crashing and successfully getting a putback. So just something to think about with lineup combinations down the stretch.
The pros and cons of the big lineup and the small lineup, man. No Daniel Gafford, no Lively. All you got is AD out there, and this is what happens in a pivotal moment. I think we got one more play to send us home, Grant. Shout out to our boy D'Angelo Russell, who tried to be the hero.
So now the Mavericks are down 3 points with 33.8 seconds left. They're going to try to run the two-man game with D'Angelo Russell and Anthony Davis. They really like that one down the stretch, as we talked about. Simple screen. Cason Wallace this time is going to go under with D'Angelo Russell. Reading that and going to try to get into a pull-up to make the defense pay. He misses the shot short. And just simple read here, drop coverage, on-ball defender goes under, tries to tie the game, but is unable to get the shot to fall. And really from that point on, it became the foul game, and the Mavs were just unable to pull the win out. But admirable effort to fight back, a lot to take away, just as they're trying to build that continuity and chemistry early on. 1-3 start to the season, but definitely some things to clean up in that third quarter, but plenty to like about that fourth quarter run.
I think you've seen some combinations work for the Dallas Mavericks. You've seen Jaden Hardy, I think, can be a contributor. None of your guards can really play defense outside of Max Christie, so it's not like, hey, you're trading off defense for offense. Nobody can really play defense or guard the perimeter. Guys that weren't out there for really either of those runs, Klay Thompson, didn't see much of him out there. Max Christie's minutes continue to increase. And I don't think we'll be saying Brandon Williams anytime soon. That was a little film breakdown with our boy G Rant, Afseth, locking down and kind of explaining some of those plays. So it makes a little bit more sense when you're watching at home, watching the next Mavericks game. You can go, hey, are they running Zoom action? And you'll know the Mavs Pulse podcast made you a little bit smarter today. So hope you guys enjoyed this new format of videos. Let us know in the comments. Maybe a play that you saw that you'd like us to break down, and we'd love to do that. So until next time, hopefully the Mavs beat the Pacers. We'll see you guys next time.